I've made well over $1 million online, and I'm about to show you exactly how I did it. So there are 6 simple steps, and this first one is one of the biggest mistakes most entrepreneurs make. A little bit of backstory. My first official online business was actually helping people learn how to record and mix their own music online. I studied music production in college, and I had the amazing opportunity to go study with some of the best music producers and learn how to make music that sounded like the music that you hear on the radio. So I would spend every single waking hour of my life thinking about this. And on the weekends, I would watch YouTube videos and spend hours and hours online learning how to record and mix and all the techniques and tools and tips I could find. And around this time, I noticed something very interesting. There were a lot of other people that I saw online who were trying to figure out the same thing too. And they were struggling. They had a problem because they were spending all this time recording, and yet their music was not sounding good. And they didn't know how to fix it. And around that time, I realized something. I realized that I had knowledge and expertise that could help these people, and that there was a clear problem, a group of people that I could help. And this is the foundation of what really inspired me to start my first official online coaching business called Behind the Speakers, which was helping musicians learn how to record and mix their own music, which was my first real profitable online coaching business. And why was it profitable? Well, quite simply, it was profitable because I found a problem that I could solve. This is the first and most important step to success when it comes to growing an online business and making money online. You get paid to solve other people's problems. So the most important question you can ask yourself first is, what is the problem that I am here to solve? This is one key to success when it comes to growing your business online. It's not the only one. And you could have a great problem, but if you don't have people to sell to, you're not going to make money online. And so that brings us to the next step that I'm about to share with you. Now, at this point, I had a clear problem. I knew I could help people. I had expertise, but I had no one that I could sell to. I had no audience. I had no people paying attention to me. And so the first thing I really had to figure out was, how do I get in front of people who could be a good fit to work with me? And how do I get in front of a lot of those people? So what I decided to do was I looked at other people in the music production space online, and I was basically just trying to figure out what they were doing and what was successful. And most of the people who were doing really well, they kind of had the same model. They were going out there, they were creating lots and lots of free content, generally on YouTube, because that was where many of these musicians and music creators were hanging out. And I saw that they were creating a lot of free content and basically using that as a way of building an audience. So I started doing the same thing. Initially, I started with a blog, then I started with a YouTube channel, and every single week I was showing up on YouTube. I was recording videos like this one. I was creating lots and lots of free, valuable content, giving my best material away, not holding anything back. But in every single video, I would pitch a lead magnet. So basically I would say, hey, for example, maybe the video was about recording vocals. And I would say, if you want to learn a little bit more about this, I actually have this free vocal recording cheat sheet that shares some things that I'm not going to be talking about in this video. And you can click the link in the description down below to get that right now. And when people would click that link, it would go to a landing page. They'd have to put in their email address, and then they'd opt in to my email list, and they get the free cheat sheet, whatever it was. Now, this simple strategy, showing up, creating consistent content every single week on YouTube, building in the back of an email list with lead magnets in every single video, allowed me to grow an audience to over 70,000 subscribers on YouTube and over 30,000 email subscribers that I could now sell to and build a relationship with. Just this simple strategy. The best way to find a group of people that you can sell to is creating content, giving away your best stuff for free, and then making sure that you're tying in some kind of email list or back-end system where you can get people off the platform that you're communicating with them on and into a email list or something where you can communicate with them directly. Now, all of this is incredibly important, but none of this actually matters if you don't have an offer that people in your audience actually want to buy, because that's how you're going to make substantial amounts of money. And that's what I want to talk about next. So around this time in my business, I was building an audience. I was creating lots of free content. People were showing up. They were watching my videos. So I started asking myself the question, well, what can I actually sell them to make money? And my first official offer was this mix critique offer where basically I sent this thing out to my email list and I was like, hey, I can critique one of your songs if you send it in and you pay me a little bit of money. And it did okay. I think I made a couple $100, but it didn't do that well. One day I was thinking, okay, I'm spending all this time trying to figure out what to sell to these people. Why don't I just ask them what they want? What if I were to just put together a survey and send it out to my email list and say, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to making music? And so that's exactly what I did. And I gave them a choice of topics to choose from. And the survey results came back, and there was one topic, it was mixing low end, that was at the top of the list. So I spent the next few months building this course that was all about mixing low end, and I did a big launch to my email list, and it was the first pretty profitable, successful launch that I ever did. I think I might have made like $5,000. And at that point, I was like, okay, this really works. And if I actually ask my audience what they want and then build something to give it to them, I'm going to be way more successful than if I just randomly try to come up with stuff that I think they will buy. The biggest reason that I see most online business owners' offers fail is because the offer that they're trying to sell does not meet a need that their audience, their niche actually wants. And rather than going out there and asking them what they want and building that, they've basically just launched something that they think the world needs. Or it's like what I did, where I was like, oh, this seems like it would be a cool offer, rather than going out there and asking people what they want and then building it for them. You're going to be so much more successful if you did this. And so I actually replicated this process again. I built another online course called Mix by Design that was rooted in another big challenge that my ideal clients told me that they had, which was mixing. And I launched this course and I made $18,000 over the course of maybe it was a week or two. And I was like, okay, this actually works. I can rinse and repeat this again and again and again, because now, rather than guessing what people want, I actually have something that people really need. And that brings us to the third step of this process, which is building an offer that solves a core problem. Such a key, important piece to success. Now, at this point, I was making a good amount of money. And, here's the thing, like you can make decent money selling low ticket products. And I was at that point, but there's such an easy way to make more money in a business that so many online business owners aren't taking advantage of. I certainly wasn't at this stage in my business. And that's what I want to talk about next. So at this point, I was selling these low ticket courses and I was doing pretty well. I think I was making around 6 figures and I had a profitable business model. I knew how to generate more leads and build my audience through this free content. But around this time, I had a friend of mine, his name was Rob. And he was running a very similar business to me. We were both making around the same amount of money. And then he made one simple shift in his business that dramatically increased his income in a very short period of time. Here's what he did. Hey friend, hope you're enjoying this episode of the podcast. And before we get back to it, if you're an established online business owner who's serious about unlocking your next level of income and impact and growth, I want you to watch my free $1 Million online business training, where I walk through a 4-step roadmap I've personally used to sell well over $1 million of coaching, consulting, and courses online. It's going to make the journey of growing your business so much easier. I want to give this to you for free. All you got to do to access it is go to jasonmoss.com/growth. That's jasonmoss.com/GROWTH to get free access to this training right now. Now back to the episode. So he went from selling low ticket courses to building his first high ticket offer, helping musicians learn how to make money online. That's basically what he was selling. And in 3 months, he went from making around $20K a month in his business to $200K a month in his business. And I was like, holy crap, that's crazy. From literally that one simple shift in his business, he radically increased his income. And I had this realization of, what if I were to sell high ticket too? I built my first high ticket mastermind and I sold it and it was successful. And I realized through this process that it was actually as easy, if not easier in many cases, to sell something that was much more expensive than to sell these low ticket courses. And I can make a lot more money with fewer customers and create a better experience for people, a higher intimacy, more impactful experience for people by selling these high ticket offers. So that brings us to the fourth insight, which is sell more expensive stuff. This is the biggest thing that I learned. And along with this, one thing that really helped me was learning how to sell. When I started understanding what it took to get on phone calls with people and sell high ticket coaching or high ticket masterminds, this changed the game for me. This was the single most important skill that I learned how to master in my business that absolutely changed everything for me. And it's one of the best things that I love sharing with the clients that I work with. So selling more expensive stuff, super, super important. But the truth is, even if you're selling more expensive stuff in your business, you're still going to hit a cap at a certain stage in your business. And this is what happened to me. And if you don't know how to get beyond this, there's a limit in every business. And you will hit it and you won't be able to make more money. So how do you break through that limit? That's what I want to talk about next. So at this point in my business, I was selling higher ticket offers to people in the music space, again, making more money, doing pretty well. But the issue was I started realizing there was a limit to the actual problem that I was helping these people solve. Because helping people make better sounding music, I was like, okay, I'll pay for that, but I'm not going to pay like 20 grand for that or 50 grand for that or 100 grand for that. And so I started realizing there was a cap in this specific niche. And I also had developed all of these skills and this expertise in years and years and years at this point of growing my own online business. I realized that I had a higher value solution that I could offer and a higher value problem I could solve. I started reflecting on other people in different niches. And I started thinking about people like heart surgeons. I asked myself, well, why do heart surgeons make so much more than general practitioners? And the answer is because they solve a bigger problem. When you're a heart surgeon and someone comes to you because you have a problem with your heart, that's a huge issue. That's not like I have a cold or I have the flu or my toe hurts. And so heart surgeons get paid a lot more in proportion to the severity and the impact of the problem that they're actually helping people solve. When I started realizing this, I realized I have an opportunity here because I've learned so much about online business. I can solve a bigger problem. So I made the transition and pivot into being a business coach and helping other online business owners grow based on what I had learned. Now, over a short period of time, maybe 2 years or so, this took me from making six figures to around $500,000 a year in sales. And this was massive for me. Just shifting that niche and solving a bigger problem completely changed the game. So the key here is finding higher value problems to solve. When you're able to solve bigger problems for people and move up the value ladder, you will get paid in proportion to the impact of the problem that you're actually helping people solve. Super important, right? But none of this actually matters if you don't have enough leads to sell to. And this is the biggest constraint that holds most online business owners back from growing their business. Even if you're solving a bigger problem, you still have to get better at creating more and more lead flow as you grow your business. That is what I want to talk about next. So at this point in my business, I was thriving as a business coach and making really good money, but the issue was I was still doing a lot of the same things that I was doing initially when I started my online business, creating lots of content, having conversations with people. And that was working. It was generating leads. But there was a constraint to the fact that I only had 24 hours in a day and I could only create so much content and I could only have so many conversations with people. So around this time, I started having a conversation with a mentor that I was working with. And he said, Jason, I think you should start using paid traffic in your business to generate more leads with less of your time. And so I set up this system in my business. This is a big part of what I help people with today when it comes to scaling and growing their business. And in a very short period of time, I went from making around 10K a month to around 60K a month in my business, literally just from paid traffic. And I was able to work the same amount or less in many cases. I actually cut my hours in my business because I was actually leveraging my time and creating lead flow in a way that didn't involve me just creating more and more and more and more content. So the last shift here was creating lead overflow. And this is one of the biggest hacks that will change the game for you in your business when you can look at trading your money for attention instead of your time for attention, and creating more leverage around how you are showing up in your business so that you can generate more leads with less of your time. The amount of scale that you can unlock is literally nearly infinite. And this is what took me to making my first million in my online business. So I want to know, what's the biggest lesson that you learned in this episode? If you're watching on YouTube, share in a comment down below. I would love to hear from you. I hope you found this valuable and helpful. So much more good stuff to come on this channel too. So like, subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave a review, and I will see you in the next episode.